Hello, Midnight Magic Musing. I am the Earl of Florida, your never humble host. If you're looking for Lord Seafish, well, he's missing. I've tied him up and put him on the railroad tracks, and there is a train coming. Why did I do that, you may ask? Because today we are doing a top list. What that top list is, can you guess? Because I hear a locomotive. Oh, wait, what's that in the sky? It's a bird, it's a plane. No, it's Superman. Yes, the top. We'll do 10 or 11 actors who portrayed Superman in live action. Are you excited? Are you quivering? Are you anticipating it with the speed of a bullet? If you are, here we go. To launch this right off the bat, we're going to go with number 11. And who could possibly be number 11 but none other than Nicolas Cage? Yes, Nicolas Cage in the 2023 version of The Flash, where unfortunately we got to see a CGI monstrosity of what was once supposed to be a real-life monstrosity of what Nicolas Cage could conceivably look at in a Superman role. Terrifying, yes. Real, even more terrifying. Number 10 is a man who brought it all to possible reality, and that's Kirk Allen. Yes, he is the first person who portrayed Superman on live action on TV in two different serials from 1948 to 1950. So Kirk Allen, you have our love and our steadfast respect for making everything possible since then. Number 9 is none other than George Reeves. George Reeves, you say? Who is that? If you don't know who that is, go ask your mother or your father or your grandparents, and they can tell you exactly who George Reeves is. George Reeves is Superman, and also, just for a little, trivia information, Ben Affleck portrayed George Reeves, aka Superman, in a movie, which makes him both Superman and Batman. Terrifying. So, moving on to number 8, we have John James Newton, who was in 1988 to 1989 Superboy on TV. And to me, he had the square jaw, the blue eyes. He looked like what I can picture as Superman, although he was just Superboy. But we gotta forgive him for that. Now, moving forward, because he was only on the show for the freshman season. After that, for the next 3 years, is portrayed by Gerald Christopher. He does look like Superman, but not as much as the blue-eyed square-jawed version that John James Newton looked like, but we'll take Gerald Christopher. And that moves us to number 6. Who could possibly be number 6 Superman live action? We've had so many wonderful ones, and Nicolas Cage. Yes, because he's still terrifyingly bad. But number 6, and you may want to get the pitchforks and the torches out and come charging the castle with a moat, but hear me out. Number 6 is Henry Cavill. Yes, Henry Cavill, whatever you want to call him. The point of the matter is he is number 6. He's not the top 5 of live-action Superman. And before you delete me and run away, let me explain. Henry Cavill was never Clark Kent or Superman to me because the way he was portrayed in Man of Steel by Zack Snyder, and so Henry Cavill had to act the way he was written. He was depressed. He was moody. He was, the S on your chest, it looks like an S. Well, in my world, this symbolized hope. Well, on my world, that symbolized you're an emo. Oh, I didn't say that. I'm sorry. I apologize. I really am a big fan of Henry Cavill. When Man of Steel was announced, I was so excited because of the cast. You had Kevin Costner, you had Russell Crowe, you had Amy Adams, you had Henry Cavill, who I absolutely love, going all the way back to my Cattle Monte Cristo. But anyway, none of that came to fruition. And so this moody, emo, dark, brooding Clark Kent Superman just didn't do it for me. And it made me sad because they doubled down on it in Batman vs. Superman. They doubled down on Justice League. And it really made me sad that Henry Cavill didn't get the opportunity to portray Superman and Clark Kent the way he is supposed to be, which is a beacon of hope. The last, the Boy Scout, the one who's going to do what's supposed to be done and be a beacon of hope. But he wasn't. And perhaps it was because of Kevin Costner. I was thrilled to death when I heard Kevin Costner was going to be in Man of Steel as Clark Kent. And then I saw it, and I was like, the way, here's a quote from Man of Steel, spoiler alert, young Clark saved a school bus full of kids, and Jonathan Kent was getting on to him saying, You should have done that. Somebody could have known who you are. And Clark goes, what should I have done? Let him die? And Pa Kent was like, maybe. Like this version of Superman and Clark Kent. Maybe we should have let it die. And if it wouldn't die, kill it with fiery kryptonite. Moving on. Number 5. Who could possibly be number 5 if Henry Cavill was number 6? And the answer is somebody who was in 4 seasons of Lois and Clark and was able to embody the very spirit, the hope, the personality, the charisma of both Superman and Clark Kent, and made us see another side of Clark Kent, and that would be Dean Kane. Number 5 is Dean Kane. He may not have appeared as we would, often perceive Superman and Clark Kent to be, but he embodied him. One of my favorite quotes in that series was, I'm Clark Kent. I wear the persona of Superman. I'm paraphrasing, of course, because it's been a long time since I've seen this in Terry Hatcher. But anyway, number 5, Dean Kane. Watch a few episodes and you will see the earnestness and fall in love. Number 4. Who could be number 4? And it's none other than Superman Returns, Brandon Routh. If you watch Superman Returns, you will remember him getting shot in the eye with a bullet. That was awesome. The Gatling gun the Gatling gun didn't work. Let's shoot him in the face with a pistol. It may be a 1911 or 45, but it doesn't matter because it's going to bounce off, and it looked amazing. Or him being shoved in the back by Lex Luthor. Let's move on from that. Or him being earnest and going, I have a boy, I don't know, unrequited love, and watching from a distance in a very, very stalker-esque way. But put all these things aside and remember that Bryan Singer was the one who directed Brandon Routh of this. So it's not Brandon Routh, the actor, who's responsible for this portrayal of Superman and Clark Kent, because that's the way it was written, that's the way he was directed. But this movie was actually supposed to be a spiritual sequel to the first 2 Donner films back in the late 70s, early 80s. And so Brandon Routh really did feel like Christopher Reeve. It really did feel that. And you know what? Even though he was like a real skinny twig with go-go boots, I believed in Superman again. And so, Brandon Routh, thank you. I love it. That's why you're number 4. Oh, wait, but that's not all. Because in 2020, Brandon Routh, after 24 years, got to reprise the role of Superman. How, you may ask, is because it was the Arrowverse. And he was we'll just call it a different dimension. We're not going to talk Marvel. We're not going to intercross the streams here because we know what happens when you do that. Thanks you, Ghostbusters. But no, Brandon Routh returned more as a Kingdom Come variant of Superman. And in this, you got to see an older, more grizzled, gray Superman who'd lost family, lost friends, lost all this stuff, but still managed to retain the hope and the very essence of what makes Superman and Clark Kent so special. And that is why Brandon Routh is number 3, or number 4, almost number 3, because he was edged out for number 3 for none other than the one who has portrayed Superman and Clark Kent for the longest. And who might that be? Tom Welling as number 3, Superman Clark Kent. And you may say, but he never portrayed Superman. He was the Blur, he was the Red Blur, he was the, he had so many different names, but he was Superman in everything but the tights and flight. As we remember that role that was passed down. If you don't know who Tom Welling is, then you're fired. You truly are fired. You're going to be taken out and shot with a kryptonite bullet, set on fire, and because you have failed to see what I did there, Green Arrow. It was a same universe did play, and Justin Hartley was actually in Smallville with Tom Welling as Green Arrow. But that's beside the point. We're talking about Tom Welling today, and 10 years portraying him, and the first season sold me. I loved him. Even though he was almost a decade older than the character he was portraying, he was wonderful as this young teen Clark, who was just now coming into his powers, just now coming into his identity, just now learning who he's going to be. And for the 10 years, you get to see this evolution as he grew into who we knew Clark Kent is and should be, and Tom Welling embodied it and empowered that character so well. But it wasn't just Tom Welling, because as we talked about the failure of Kevin Costner under the direction of Zack Snyder in Henry Cavill's Man of Steel, we have to give props to Annette O'Toole, Michael Rosenbaum as Lex Luthor. Wonderful, wonderful portrayal, but it has to be hands down John Snyder as Paul Kent, as Jonathan Kent, as being the focal molding point that created this character of Clark Kent by being the father that he needed him to be. And Jonathan Kent was everything I wanted Kevin Costner to be, and that's part of the reason Tom Welling was able to embody it so well, both his character and as the actor, and hands down, Tom Welling, awesome. But who could possibly be number 2? And number 1, it was very, very close, but number 2 was none other than Tyler Hookland. If you don't know who Tyler Hookland is, I've known him for a while. He was on a little show called Seventh Heaven, where he was one of the boyfriends of the children, but he also found actually decent acclaim in a TV series called Teen Wolf, where he played Derek. And if you don't know who that is, just ask your girlfriend or your wife, and they'll be like, oh yeah, we know who Derek was. Take his shirt off. Anyhow, moving on, I really like the range that the character had, the drive that Tyler Hookland had, and when he was announced for being Clark Kent, Superman on Supergirl back in 2016, so many people were like, no! That's a Darth Vaderism. Cross the streams there. I apologize. But I was like, you know what? I like it. I'm hopeful. I have faith. And when Tyler Hoechlin was a Supergirl, he may not have looked exactly the way he should have been, like a few of his predecessors have. He may not have filled up the suit. The suit may not have been perfect. But if you watch the first episode he was in Supergirl Season 2, you will see that Tyler Hoechlin actually was Clark Kent. He actually was Superman, and he nailed it absolutely. And because of his portrayal, he was given his own series with Elizabeth Tulick of Grimm fame. And let me say, I am not disappointed. The reason he is number 2 is because, one, I love Tyler Hoechlin's portrayal of Superman, but we also got the opportunity to see a completely different Superman that we have never been able to see before. Well, it was hinted a little bit back in the Superman Returns with Brandon Routh that she learned that he had a 5 or 6-year-old son, but in here, we see Tyler Hoechlin as a father and husband, father of 2 teenage sons, and we get to watch a completely different aspect of who Superman was, and Tyler Hoechlin nailed it out of the park. Yes, he had supporting cast with Elizabeth Tulick and Dylan Wass of Nip Tuck, or more specifically Congo fame. Yes, a Michael Crichton suspense thriller. I'm shouting out there because I absolutely love Congo and Dylan Wass. But we're back to talking about, yes, you know, Superman and Lois. Tyler Hoechlin, number 2. You can't take it away. Go watch him. Go watch the first episode of Supergirl that comes in Season 2, and you will see who Henry Cavill should have been, who Zack Snyder should have directed him to be. But moving on, number 1, who could it possibly be? If you don't know, you're fired. You should go away, because we're talking about live action Superman actors. We're not talking about the voice actors. So I'm sorry, Mark Harmon. I'm sorry, Tim Daly, but you two don't qualify. You must now exit the room. You don't have a ticket for this. You're not nominated. I apologize, maybe next time. But this time we're talking about the number 1 live action Superman, and that has to be hands down, no ifs, ands, or buts, Christopher Reeve, 1978, and he had 4 of these movies. Why? Because he became Superman. You watched him and you knew you're watching Superman. You knew you were seeing something special. It was Clark Kent. Yes, we had Marlon Brando on there. Yes, we had Gene Hackman, but it was, and Margaret Kidder, but it wasn't any of them. It was the fact that Christopher Reeve became Superman, both physically when he put on the weight and the muscle to become him, but he also, when you watch it, you'll see him as Superman where he's very sure of himself. He's confident. He knows he's strong. He's powerful. He doesn't have to prove that. And he can be gentle and kind. That is what Superman is. And he's hope. He's a symbol. But then you see his portrayal as Clark, and he's bumbling a bit, and he's fumbling a bit, and even his stature and his demeanor is different. He goes blah, 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 as Clark Kent to the square jaw. I'm Superman, and he did that so well, and he was Superman, and he's the benchmark that we measure everybody else to. Does he look like Christopher Reeve? Check. Kind of. Not at all. Does he have the suit that's appropriate? Kind of like Christopher Reeve? Check. Maybe let's not talk about it anymore. Or how does he portray Superman? Superman is hope. Superman is kind. Superman is somebody that they look to and look up to. Or do they just look up to you because you're flying in the air? So yes, number 1, Christopher Reeve. Number 2, Tyler Hoechlin. Number 3, Tom Welling. 4, Brandon Routh. 5, Dean Kane. 6, yes, 6 is Henry Cavill. I'm sorry. 7, Gerald Christopher. 8, John Hames Newton. 9, George Reeves. 10, Kirk Allen, the one who made all this possible. And number 11 is Nicolas Cage. So if you like that, check out some of our others, because I am the Earl of Florida for Midnight Magic Musings. And tell me something about the list. Did you like it? Do you hate it? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Tell me I'm right. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me something. I promise not to cry in the corner more than 5 minutes, because who knows? There might be somebody outside my window with X-ray vision watching me, and I don't want him to come take away my man card for crying that long. Nah, who cares? I don't care anyway. But anyway, hit that like button, subscribe, share this. Share it to somebody you like, share it to somebody you hate, and be like, yes, watch this, and take joy in their misery, because I will. I'll join you in joyful cries of their misery. But anywho, thank you for watching. Thank you for staying till the end, and we will catch you next time. Love you, and goodbye.